All right, guys. Today we are going to be talking about ecological succession. So, ecological succession is the process of ecological change in an ecosystem where one community is replaced by another community over time. There are two types of succession that we see. We have primary succession and we have secondary succession. So, primary succession occurs when a community forms in an area that was previously uninhabited. So, examples of this is exposed rock, volcanic eruptions, the retreat of glaciers, and eroded sand. So, the process of primary succession is predictable. It begins with bare rock that, through weathering and erosion, actually becomes soil. This will lead to our pioneer species, which is the first organisms that arrive or begin to grow in that environment, which normally is going to be your lichen, your moss, bacteria, fungi, and your grasses. So these organisms can grow in areas where others cannot. So over time, these organisms will decompose and release nutrients to form a layer of soil that is larger for more complex plants can grow in it. So here is a great diagram of primary succession. So we primarily have our pioneer species starting out with our bare rock here. And next we're going to see our lichens begin to grow. Once our lichens are growing, we're going to see small annual plants along with the lichens. So our grasses are going to start growing in this area. And they're going to continue to grow. We're going to see some flowers. And once that happens, we're going to get into our intermediate species. So this is going to be our grasses, our shrubs, our shade-intolerant trees such as pines. And then after that, we're going to head into our climax community, which is a shade-tolerant tree such as oak or hickory. Now, this process does not happen overnight. It does not happen in a week. It does not happen in a month. This happens over hundreds of years. So examples of primary succession is Glacier Bay National Park in Alaska or Mount St. Helens in Washington State. And if you don't know what those are, look them up. They are absolutely breathtaking. So next we have secondary succession. This occurs in an area that was previously occupied by living organisms, but the community was destroyed by a disturbance. And examples of a disturbance can be a fire, farming, hurricane, tsunami, anything that is taking away from the living things in that environment. So the established community is destroyed, but the soil is still intact. Therefore, it'll take less time than the primary succession will. So our pioneer species equals our weeds and our grasses. So the process typically begins with weeds and grasses that are able to grow quickly and proceeds until a climax community is reached. So here's how it works with secondary succession. So first we started out with our fire. Now everything's gone. No more. We got soil, but we don't have anything else. So in the first 1 to 2 years, that's when we're going to see our pioneer species. So our lichens, our weeds, our grasses. So that's going to be in our first 1 to 4 years. Now, in the next 5 to 150 years, that's when we're going to see our intermediate species. So your grasses, your shrubs, your pines, your young hickory, and your young oak. So after 150 years have passed since that wildfire, after that, that's when we're going to get into our climax community, which is when we have those mature oaks and hickory forests. So the climax community is the overall goal of that ecosystem after being destroyed. But secondary succession, it doesn't take it nearly as long to reach that point. Now, aquatic succession will begin with a body of water, such as a pond or a lake, And over time, sediments and decaying organisms will build up and actually create soil. So this soil will fill the bottom of that pond or lake. And eventually, the pond or lake will fill completely with soil, and the terrestrial ecosystem will develop in its place. All right, guys, those are the three types of ecological succession that I wanted you to know about. Hope you